Warhorse Studios has patched their Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 game and added a disclaimer to the Codex of Hans Capon, noting that the in-game character is 20 years old. Roll this up over at fandompulse.com. So just to provide you context, in the original Kingdom Come Deliverance, the Codex entry for Hans Capon indicated he was born around 1388 and died in 1419. Obviously, you can see right here, there is the question mark right next to 1388, indicating that it could be earlier, it could be later. Obviously, unsure on what that exact year is. But anyways, the Codex entry made it very clear that he is underage. It says the underage son of Jan Jesek Ptacek and Hedvika of Dalba. After the death of his father, his family, the Lords of Lipa, his uncle Jindrik and son Hanush, and his brothers became his guardians. Given the game takes place in 1403, Capon was around the age of 15, based on the 1388 date and the fact that they described him as the underage son. And as I said earlier, it is possible he could have been younger or older, but it is clear that they described him as the underage son. If we go and look at some of the historical record, we have this Czech website, Sherdovik, which is dedicated to Czech history. It notes that Jan was born sometime before 1398. It also states that his son Heineck was born sometime in the early 15th century. It does not provide a specific date. Furthermore, it was documented in 1408 what Ptacek's dowry for his wife Jitka was. So probably got married around there. Obviously, that the documentation could have been done later after the marriage, but that is when it was documented that he was married, indicating that it's likely that his son was born after that, given most people waited to have sex, as they should, until they were married. Czech website Jiskra also noted that Hans Capon or Jan Ptacek did not even come of age until 1406, which coincides with the date of the marriage in 1408, the dowry. Machine translation from that site says, Jesek Ptacek was already a 50-year-old man when his son Jan was born. He took refuge in Polna Castle and left the Radoski dominion to his son Jan, who came of age in 1406. So everything is pointing to the fact that this is an underage character. Historical record, etc., even the original game's codex. On top of all this was former Warhorse Studios social media manager Yuri Riddell, noting in a post on the Kingdom Come Deliverance Steam forums back in 2022 that the original intention for Henry, the game's main protagonist, was that he was seen in teenage. This is what he posted over on Steam back in 2022. The original idea was Henry is in teenage. Remember that in medieval time, you are taken almost adult in 14 to 16, helping with the work already from 10 to 12. Some girls already married in 15, etc. Of course, the actor is older. The movements of the character scanned in the motion capture studio are adult, so you have rather impression of a guy in 20s. But the idea was he is very young, uneducated, unexperienced teenager, and before End of Kingdom Come Deliverance, he actually become a man. Not aging, of course, but in the similar way boys become men, rather inside. I hope I explained it a little bit more. In the end, doesn't matter. The important is the emotional connection you get to Henry on his way, I believe. So obviously, this was done after Kingdom Come Deliverance and before it was revealed that Henry and Hans would engage in a graphic sodomy scene in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But I think it's very clear here that the intention is that this character is a teenager. Henry was a teenager. And I think, given the fact that they're describing Henry as a teenager, I think it's likely that Hans Capon was also imagined as a teenager as well. So, when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 launched, Warhorse Studios changed the codex entry for Hans Capon, despite the game still taking place in 1403. It removed the descriptor that he was underage. You can read this right here. It just says now, son of Jesek Ptacek and Hedvika of Dalba, after the death of his father, Jan Jesek, the Lords of Lipa, Uncle Henry, his son Hanush, and his brothers became his guardians. But they removed the descriptor that he was underage, despite the game taking place in the exact same year as the first game. As discovered by users of the Kiwi Farms forum and brought to my attention by YouTuber What the God, Warhorse added a disclaimer to Hans Capon's codex entry in a recent patch of the game. At the end of the codex entry, it now states this. We can read it right here. Unlike his historical precursor, however, we took the poetic license of making Hans Capon a 20-year-old man in our game. Very interesting that they had to patch this in. One wonders if they did so because they know what they did and they were trying to normalize this stuff, because this is what these woke video game companies do. They're going to be really sneaky about this stuff. They're going to try to normalize this stuff. They're going to try to make it like, oh, well, it was just an option. But no, this is what they did to that character. And now they're trying to cover their tracks here. As you can see, that was not in the codex before the patch. And now it is. The addition of this disclaimer was not noted in the game's patch notes, although some people might say that the bottom part here, where it says a few dozen additional stability fixes and improvements, might be in there, describing the added text as an improvement. Now, it's unclear why the disclaimer was added to the codex entry. Warhorse Studios creative director Daniel Vavra was previously confronted with the idea that a depiction of sodomy in the game between Hans Capon and Henry was in reality a depiction of child sodomy. Vavra responded to this, writing, "Imagine that women at the time were married at the age of 12 and had children. Also, they needed witnesses during first sex." So he's defending this idea that it is child sodomy. Then this person responded saying, "If you were aiming for historical accuracy, why are there no children in the game? Because they could be killed. Killing them is bad, but having sex with them is fine. Okay, bud." And then Vavra kind of mocks him, saying, "So there are no children, but Capon is a child," and you seem kind of lost. So he's obviously mocking this person who I think is clearly having trouble explaining what he's trying to point out. But he does get to it right here and says, "So Capon is the only child in the game, and coincidentally, it is possible to have sex with him. You were lost when you designed the game." So it was obviously very clear what this person was trying to say. I think Daniel Vavra just kind of took the opportunity to try to mock him right there in that response. But I think this response is much more interesting because he is actually trying to defend the fact that they have a child sodomy scene in the game. He would then, 5 days later, issue this statement saying, "Jan Ptacek, Hans Capon, is a historical character. His date of birth is unknown and is probably before 1388. As I said, it's likely before 1398. He got married in 1403. That's absolutely, I haven't seen any evidence of that. What I saw is the Latin record, which is 1408, is when his the dowry was recorded. His son being born in 1404, I don't think that is confirmed either. I haven't seen any documentation of that either. And the idea that he was married in 1403 kind of contradicts what we saw here from this other Czech website that said he came at age in 1406, which would be 3 years later. And then his son being born in 1404, I haven't seen anything to that. Everything I've seen is early 15th century. Now, obviously, 1404 is early 15th century, but it could be later. The fact that his dowry wasn't recorded till, 1408? I would wager that he was probably born after that date. So 1408. And we can even go here and look at it, and you can see 1408. We scroll down. Obviously, it's all in Latin. It's saying it's in Czech, but the site's in Latin. This is all in Latin. You can read it here in Latin. I think where is it here? Yeah, right here. Johannes Dictus Ptacek de Birkenstein, right here. This is him, and the date is 1408. You can see 1408 is when it documents his dowry right here. It's his entry right here, 623. So I doubt that he was having a son before that. Now, again, like I said, that might be when it's documented, but one would assume that's when the marriage was in 1408 as well. Anyways, Vavra went on, says, famous Heinz Ptacek, who helped King Yif Z Potobrad to the throne. There are no children in Kingdom Come Deliverance. And then he says his marriage is actually part of the story of Kingdom Come Deliverance. So that is your latest update on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. They have added a disclaimer now to Hans Capon's codex entry saying, unlike his historical precursor, however, we took the poetic license of making Hans Capon a 20-year-old man in our game. I don't think that is what they did. I think there is overwhelming evidence that shows that is not the case. I think we can point to this right here from the first game, making it explicit that he is an underage son, meaning he would be under the age of 18 at least. I think this is all just damage control, and I think they got caught, and they are doing this, I think, for a lot of legal reasons. And I still think this game should be banned. I think that it should be illegal. I think what they have done is absolutely sick and disgusting, and they should immediately retract that scene, remove it from the game, and they should issue an apology. That's what I think should happen. I don't think that is going to happen because they sneakily added this disclaimer into the game, and there are going to be tons of people, probably you might be one of them right now watching this video, trying to find a way to rationalize this and defend this game. But I think a lot of the evidence here points to the fact that the character is underage and that they got caught. They did not think they were going to get caught, and now they are doing damage control, and that is what I think is happening right here. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.